All right, the Tuck Rule. We are going to attempt to travel back in time in order to kill Bill Belichick as a child and more. Wait, I can't. I said about killing a child. They always talk about this. Like, would you go back in time to kill Hitler as a baby? And, well, I don't. Hold on one second here. It's time to do some dark magic. I summon here, in this potions bottle, one hair off of Mark Davis's shitty haircut. We bring in one screw from Derek Carr's leg injury from the Indianapolis Colts. One cue card used to select Jamarcus Russell. Domo se takru. Wait a second, probably shouldn't resort to black magic either, but can you blame me? Let's talk about it. Not sex, baby. Not you and me. Let's talk about all the bad things that may happen in New England. Let's talk about the Tuck Rule. No, seriously, let's talk about it here on the second episode of Hero Ball from Fishing Elephant Media here. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Cole Blenner, and I am going to go into the depths of what should be therapeutic, but is actually going to ruin everything I am as an individual, and that's bringing back up the 20-year-old trauma that we know as the Tuck Rule. I'm going to say that word a lot. I'm going to have to do a shot after this, even though I can't drink. Just for every single time I say the Tuck Rule. Just get it all out. Just get it all out. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. Let's rock and roll with this here, though, ladies and gentlemen, because if we are actually talking about this game, this is the new generation's game right here. This is what built the dynasty of the past 20 years. This is probably arguably the greatest dynasty-making moment of all time because it led to the Patriots. It led to Tom Brady. It led to Bill Belichick. It led to, well, either your joy and misery the past 20 years. It just kind of depends on which side of the coin you fall on there. But in this game, we took the NFL's winningest franchise up to this point, a team that had 26 Hall of Famers, great success across decades, and have become a staple of commitment to excellence. You had a team that had previously made 2 Super Bowls in 1985 and 1996, albeit in losing efforts to legendary teams in the 1985 Chicago Bears and the Brett Favre-led Green Bay Packers, but would forever turn their fortunes around after a single play in a single game. It is amazing how the trajectories change as the Raiders would suddenly go from the top of the hill all the way to the bottom, and then the same in the opposite direction what happened for the Patriots, a franchise in a major sports city that was relegated to Tier 2 status or maybe even Tier 3 would become legendary. So, being a sports fan, we have to talk about this game because the Tuck Rule is everything we know today. It is Tom Brady. It's Adam Vinatieri, the greatest kicker of all time. It's Bill Belichick. It's rule changes and referee controversy. It's the Raiders getting screwed over. It's the greatest American football story, ladies and gentlemen. So, let's take a deep sports dive into the Tuck Rule. Let's find out what was going on before it happened, what actually happened, and then let's take a look at the ripples that we've all seen play out over the past 20 years. Because starting off here, we're going to start off with the Raiders. As I mentioned before, as a quick little slide in there, the Raiders were the most winningest franchise of all time. No, seriously, look it up. Up until the Tuck Rule game, they had the best winning percentage, period. Like they just won. They just won, baby. That's what was going on in Oakland and a little bit in Los Angeles when we moved there too. But Al Davis was running a good organization out there. The 80s and 90s, even the middling success seemed as terrible to the Raiders. Any 8-8 season was fired with ousting of head coaches, quarterback changes, and, well, a lot of what we see out of the Cowboys these days. And that's what the Raiders had kind of become in the 80s and 90s. They had become a team that had a little bit of playoff success here and there. They make it to the divisional round, but they couldn't recapture what they did in 1983, 1981, and 1976, and that is win a Super Bowl. Now, they were starting to get back to it, though. Because in 1998, Al Davis hired Bruce Allen as the general manager of the team, and he brought in young head coach John Gruden. That's right, I said his name, even though he's disgraced now, and Bruce Allen would be the reason that he is now disgraced. Go take a look into that Washington email scandal, ladies and gentlemen. It's rather juicy. But nonetheless, we're talking about 1998 here, and the only thing they were worried about was Y2K, certainly not their emails getting hacked or leaked. They were worried about building a roster, and that they did. They brought in Rich Gannon at quarterback, Charlie Gardner at running back to pair with Tim Brown at wide receiver, and then right before the 2001 season, they bring in the GOAT, the greatest receiver of all time later in his career, Jerry Rice, to pair with Tim Brown. Now, this was an older receiving core, but a lot of the league still believed that they had juice left to go along with Lincoln Kennedy on the offensive line and Charles Woodson over on the defensive end. This is a completely good overall team that featured a lot of talent and a good mix of veteran expertise with young potential. So, it wasn't a shocker when Sports Illustrated in 2001 and 2002 named them the Super Bowl favorites, as they had just previously been in the AFC Championship game years before against the Baltimore Ravens. This Raiders team, that's who they were coming in. They were the favorites, they were the dogs, but they weren't actually the home team, because that would go for the New England Patriots. The Patriots, as we said up to this point, had kind of had up and down roads in their franchise, but had never really tasted that true key to success. How weird is that to say, the Patriots not having success? It's weird. I don't know. Leaves a weird taste in your mouth, but that's just the way it was. Now, bringing in Drew Bledsoe in the mid-90s and then hiring Bill Belichick as their coach seemed to turn the fortunes around for the team. You had a great young quarterback. You had a defensive genius at head coach to go along with some great defensive players. Things started to look around as they still had a lot of the talent that was still on that 95-96 roster that led them to the Super Bowl. But that would come crashing down almost seemingly in week one when Drew Bledsoe would go out with an injury and was replaced by an unknown quarterback from Michigan, a little 6th-round pick named Tom Brady. I wonder what he's doing nowadays, though. Be interesting to check up on the kid and see how he's been. But anyways, I think Brady did a pretty all-right job as the Patriots actually ended up winning the AFC East and securing home field advantage for their game against the Raiders in the first round. Now, or in the second round of the playoffs, my apologies, because the Raiders actually ended up beating the New York Jets in the first round of the playoffs that year, icing on a longtime New England rival and a team that had actually held the division up for a long time. But we set the stage here in the divisional round because, well, this game was cold, and the only thing that probably could have taken the Raiders out, besides, the usual, the referees, or just poor play, is that this game was snow-packed. Originally, the nickname coming out of the game was actually the Snow Bowl, too, considering the giant snowfall that was coming down. Teams were clearing the field between plays before the game, halftime, constantly trying to make the playing surface decently playable for these teams. In football, we're not going to ever complain about weather conditions, but I'll let you do a little bit of math when a team from California flies out in the middle of January to, Boston to play in the snow. The game was sloppy. The Raiders didn't play as well as they should have, but they still held a lead late in the game, up 17-14 against the Patriots. But Brady had the Patriots reeling and driving down the field. A couple of passes to David Patton, who was a key not only in this game, but in the Super Bowl against the Rams that would come up, put them into field goal range. But the Raiders would ultimately have, hopefully something to say about that. Once again, let's take a look at the play and break it down, see what y'all think. I'll be right back.
42. Blitz. Lost the football. It's on the ground. Covered by the Raiders.
First time today I've seen him come on a blitz.
Oh, did he pull it down? His arm was going
Out by Charles Woodson.
After reviewing the play, the quarterback's arm was going forward. It is an incomplete pass.
It doesn't ever actually get easier to watch it. It doesn't get easier to experience it. 7 years old when that play happened. It was tragic. It was horrible. I was upset and I was pissed off the entire game, and rightfully so, because, well, as the tuck rule states, let's just put it up here on the screen. The tuck rule, and if you want a layman's interpretation, is if the ball is going down into the tuck position, then it's considered a pass and it's not a fumble, even though the quarterback is going back into what I would consider a non-passing form. If we're taking video game stances here, this is stationary pass form. This is pass form. This is stationary pass form. Like it's, for me, it's simple. But yeah, it's a way to exploit the rule book in order to screw over the Raiders. We all know this. It happened earlier actually in the year against New England's favor, as they were playing against the Miami Dolphins and had the tuck rule invoked on what should have been a game-sealing sack. So Belichick, having a little bit of experience, immediately knew that, well, this is probably what's going to happen here. But as we take a deeper look into this play, I don't know. The still from the shot that keeps coming up has Brady holding the ball. Holding it, not in the tuck motion, but actually just holding it, ball already tucked, back into the passing stance. It's a pretty bang-bang play, and I can't really blame the referees at the time for looking back, but you know what? I'm going to fucking do it anyways, because it's the Raiders, it's the referees, it's something that I still know to this single frickin' day, is that the referees just hate us, and I've done everything in my power but summon the fucking late great spirit of Betty White in order to get this game reversed, in order to get some clarity as what's to happen for the past 20 years. Because I'm 27 years old, ladies and gentlemen, and I've spent 20 fucking years of my life watching the Raiders be shit. Absolute dog shit when we were the best team ever. Ever. Or in the words of, well, one of my favorites, Chris Jericho, ever. We were the best. And I've had to deal with this dog shit. I've had to deal with terrible haircuts, Jamarcus Russell, up-teen penalties millions of times over, DUI accidents that kill dogs and people, racist emails. I mean, it never stops. The one good season that we actually had back in 2016, our quarterback got taken out in week 16. Like, what the fuck, dude? Seriously, as a Raiders fan here, this isn't even unbiased. What the actual hell has been going on? This game is what's been going on. All the good juju, all of our mojo. Fat Bastard went back into time and sucked it right out of the Raiders, and this is the moment that he did it, and put it right into the tender, loving hoodie of Bill Belichick, because since then, the Raiders have been the third worst franchise in the NFL, but since then, the Patriots have been the best. And you know the story. 6 titles, up-teen AFC Championship game appearances, Tom Brady being the greatest quarterback of all time, the perfect season that just didn't end perfectly. At least there was some justification there, and I'll forever love Eli Manning for taking 2 rings off of Brady's fingers, but still, it's not enough. It's never going to be enough, because this created the greatest dynasty in all of sports. It created the greatest kicker in all of sports. The one good thing we can take here at Fishing Elephant Media from this as well, we're from Rapid City, South Dakota. That's where the boy Adam Vinatieri is from. I went to high school. There's a mural up for Adam Vinatieri, and in that mural, there's 2 kicks inside of it. One is from the Super Bowl that would happen 3 weeks after this game would come and would forever define Adam as the greatest clutch kicker of all time, but it would all start right here in a snow-packed game as the boy from Rapid City who played football in Europe at a time that was a thing and tackled Herschel Walker his rookie year, eventually would make a kick that would tie the game and then would make a chip shot that would ice it. Pun fully intended. This snow blew the Raiders' hopes away, because the next year, well, it's a little tragic where we kind of go from here. The downfall of the Raiders is simple as this. It happens in a couple of easy steps. One, in the offseason, Al Davis thinks that he can do it without John Gruden. He thinks the coach is far more valuable to him in draft picks and cash, and trades him away for 2 first-round picks in the following drafts and 2 second-round picks and a couple of Subway coupons in order, I don't know. I honestly don't. We weren't a team that needed this. But he trades them to the Buccaneers, and I think we all know what happens next. The next year, the Raiders, taking the same offense and the same team that the year before should have beaten the New England Patriots in the Snow Bowl and Tuck Rule game, eventually leads them all the way to the Super Bowl to play the one coach that they shouldn't be playing in John Gruden. Bill Callahan didn't even care to mix up the signals. He's using the exact verbiage that John Gruden made the playbook with. This is trying to fight God with the Bible here. Seriously, it's the fucking dumbest thing that's ever happened in Super Bowl history, and the Raiders paid the price. 5 interceptions later, and a 45-24 rout eventually led to the Buccaneers winning their first ever Super Bowl and the Raiders getting in their last ever Super Bowl. From here, the misery would follow as one lone playoff appearance in 2016 is the only thing we have to credit, and the starter of that game was none other than Matt McGloin. As Raiders quarterback Derek Carr, I mentioned, broke his leg in Week 16 against the Indianapolis Colts and was out the rest of the year. This is what it is. The Raiders were arguably the Patriots before this game, and the Patriots were, well, the Patriots after this game. It's what anybody who's watched football in the last 20 years knows is the model of success, and the Raiders are the model of, well, what not to do. It's drafting 4.28 receivers in the first round when better options are available. It's drafting left tackles who bust and quarterbacks ahead of Hall of Famers. It's the misery that's been a Raiders fan for the past handful of years, and hopefully, now that John Madden and Betty White decided to die 3 days apart from each other, that's just enough misery to bring a close on that. As right now, at the time of this video, the Raiders do play the Chargers this week, and hopefully, well, we win, because I'm not going to release this until afterwards, and maybe we'll just cut this whole entire fucking thing out. So, in the spirit of jinxing the Raiders win, and I'm going to cut this part out if not, but this is going to be a special little feature, here's a couple of controversial topics that I'm going to go ahead and state my opinion on. Ben Roethlisberger is not a Hall of Fame quarterback. Why? Because he's a fucking rapist. That's why. Deshaun Watson will play in the NFL again. Do I like it? No. Do you like it? No. But he's going to play in the NFL again. Just get used to that fact. There's sometimes a money and a name is just way bigger than charges, especially when the charges aren't murder. Sorry. But, like, that's just the case. Guy's a piece of shit. Hopefully he goes to Denver so I can rag on him some more. But what's on one other thing? I already said children should be put on leashes, which I totally don't believe. But you know who should be put on a fucking leash? Robert Kraft. And he should be kept out of any massage parlor, too. Check into him on Epstein's Island. Peace out, bitches.